Welcome to Logistic Unlocked, a podcast by Alpega. Here we focus on the decision shaping modern logistics. Today I'm pleased to be joined by Daniel Cohen. Daniel, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Likewise. You've just taken on the CEO role at a pivotal moment for logistics. Could you briefly share your journey and the perspective you bring today?
So indeed, it's a pivotal moment, I think in general in the industry, as we look at the industry, and certainly for Alpega. And for me, coming into Alpega has been a very conscious decision, both in choosing the industry that, the transport and logistics industry, but also the company itself. I think when I consider my past history and the experience that I bring from different industries that I've worked in, there's a lot that kind of coalesces into the opportunities that the company has, and very much looking forward to working on them together and taking Alpega to the next stage.
Yeah, and to deep dive on it, so you spend a large part of your career leading digital businesses, if I'm not wrong.
Indeed.
What is about the transportation industry that caught your attention?
So I worked, as you know, I spent a lot of time in the book publishing business that transformed into an e-learning business. So kind of going from paper into digital. And being part of that transformation taught me a lot about, you take markets and industries that are kind of old-fashioned or used to doing things. Students are used to opening books and writing in their notebooks with pencils. And then you help kind of transform this industry into digital and either pull out your phone or log in online and do your homework. And there's a lot of, it's a very interesting process when a market or an industry goes through it, and how much you support the customers in doing it. And ultimately, I think, customers want it. They're looking for the efficiency that the digital and digitalize it brings with it. Obviously, there are concerns with coming in, but you work with the customers and you migrate into this new digital world. I worked in fraud and transaction payments, online banking payments, e-commerce payment space. Here as well, identities. You used to walk to your bank. You'd know there would be a person that you were talking to, and maybe you knew her because you came into the bank once a week and there was a name and a face. And suddenly, banking is transitioning into the digital world. And now you're logging into this web page, and is it the real bank? Is it not the real bank? Is there somebody there? And so that transition is also, comes with lots of challenges. And so my time at RSA was very much focused on how do we help, these customers from my grandma that needs to access the bank account all the way down to my kids, right? And how do you provide to them a journey that feels secure and trusted, where they can trust the bank? And that it's very interesting seeing kind of these transitions go through industries. I spent time, my last role as CEO of a payments company, of PayU, was also very, very interesting for me. It's PayU specifically is a company that operates in emerging markets. We operate across Latin America, Africa, where the population doesn't necessarily have a bank account, but they're making money. They're working, they're getting cash, they want to spend that cash online. And here too, you're trying to think like, how do you get unbanked population that wants to go online and they want to spend them, but there's no bank account, there's no credit card. And there, you're always innovating and thinking about new ways, of payment methods and how do you enable this population? And coming back, as I looked left, I looked right, I said, where's my next industry? Because I love learning new things. And I said, where's my next industry? And transport, like I'm talking to my friends and colleagues, and they're all saying, transport, there's something happening in transport. So I got my head into transport, find my way into Alpega, and I think Alpega, its position in the market, it's right there where I can see like all this experience is now we can transform here as well and bring that digital experience. As much as it's hard and it's challenging and it might be a little scary, we can do it, and together we can do it, and we can kind of build that trust in the new technology, and that's very much what I'm looking forward to do.
Yeah, sounds exciting. And how that digital background change the way you look at transportation today?
I hear a lot of this is how things were done. This is how things are, for the last 20, 30, 40, 50, this is how we do things in freight. And a lot of respect for the status quo, but I think change is the constant. Change will happen, whether we want it or don't want it. We might be able to delay it a little bit, but ultimately change comes along. You know, you think about just look at the generation, right? I mean, our parents looked at us. We were playing Ataris and video games and said, "Go outside and play soccer with your friends." But it changed, and we became a very digital generation. Did our parents like it? I don't know, but they couldn't stop it. I'm looking at my kids today, the TikTok generation, like, get off of TikTok, go play with your friends. But it's a change that you can't stop. And I think here as well in the transport industry, it's the change. We might delay it a little bit. We might decide not to migrate or move to new digital, technology. But at some point, you won't be able to. The train has left the station. You can't. You might be hanging on to the train and stop, don't go, but it's going to go. And I think at that point, as we consider how do we, as this train is leaving, how do we make it easy for our customers to board that train, feel comfortable? You know what, this is nice. I like this ride, and that's where we have to spend a lot of our attention, and that's where I think the opportunity is in this industry.
Great, thanks. Many conversations focus on how complex transportation has become.
Yes.
Beyond efficiency, why does transportation matter so much strategically today?
That's a great question. And I was talking to Nikolai, our chairman, and he said something to me which really kind of, it sunk in deep. The sentence he said was, transportation is the cardiovascular system of the world. And really, when you stop and think about it from a philosophical perspective, it's really that. It's going from point A to point B. Goods have to move. And in this industry, and you consider also where the world is, the complexities, as you mentioned, that are mounting. You think about global geopolitics, wars, driver shortages, macroeconomic factors, the increasing complexity of compliance and regulation. And I think today, and if we kind of connect our whole conversation, this digital train that's leaving, and helping our customers board that train and making their journey easier. And that's kind of the thinking that I want us all, participating in. Is this is a very strategic, vertical industry for the world. The world will stop if trucks can't drive, and we can't have that. Yeah. And now, how do we make this strategic, piece of the world run more efficiently or efficiently? How do we make it easy for them, given all these different complexities that are hitting them left and right? And ultimately, the answer is digital. And this digital age that we live in today, AI, everything, also enables us to help them faster. And that's what we have to bring to market and do for our customers.
That makes a lot of sense. From your perspective, where do you see Alpega having the most impact?
That's a great question, because, and also kind of one of the reasons that I was drawn into Alpega. You look at this business, it's not just a carrier business, the truck driver business, it's also the shipper business. And we're uniquely positioned where we're servicing, the shippers, the entities that want to send and ship goods around the world, and then the entities that are actually carrying that. They're loading the freight on a truck, on a boat, and driving it to somewhere. And for Alpega, having a very solid footprint in each of these, and it's basically, this is what shipping is, shippers and carriers. And having a footprint in each of these, pies is incredible. And I think for Alpega, we really have to think about how do we do better as an ecosystem. It's of course, how do we do better for shippers, and how do we do better for the carriers and help them get on that train, but also how do we do better for this industry as a whole? How do we make their lives easier and better and more efficient? And that's where Alpega, the strategic direction for Alpega will be very much that, focusing on that ecosystem and making both parts of this equation, better through digital and efficiency and everything we spoke of.
Thank you. And before we wrap up, I like to end with one question.
Yeah.
Our signature question of the podcast. If there was one advice you could give to our audience, what would it be?
Don't fear change. we're here to help you through this change. It's daunting. It's daunting. I mean, like we said, there's a way of doing things. We're accustomed to doing things in that way. But in the back of your mind, you know that this change is coming. And don't stress, don't get stressed by it. Don't think about how do I stop it or prevent it. Let's work together, figure out how we transition from the ways of the past into the ways of the future together. And we're here to support you all the way.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Daniel.
My
it was
pleasure.
a pleasure.
It's great being here. Thank you.